Picture this. It's 6:30 in the morning, and your phone alarm goes off.
Yeah, the classic start to the day.
Right. You reach over, you silence it, and you think, okay, time to start the day I planned.
Like you're totally in control.
Exactly. You check your phone, and, the first news headline you see makes your blood boil.
Which is pretty much every day now.
Oh, totally. And then you open a food delivery app, you see a great discount on breakfast from that place you like, and you order it.
Sounds like a perfectly normal morning.
It does, right. You get out of bed feeling like you're just making normal, independent choices to kick off your routine. But what if I told you that your entire morning is actually a carefully orchestrated script?
Script you didn't write.
Exactly. Written by an algorithm that's designed specifically to exploit your attention, your decisions, and even your data.
I mean, it's a profound illusion of free will. You wake up thinking you're the director of your morning, but you're actually an actor, hitting marks that are laid out by, invisible lines of code.
And waking up to that reality is exactly the mission of today's deep dive. We are exploring this massive, highly provocative 2026 Taiwanese book titled AI Sovereignty.
It's a fascinating text.
It really is. But we're not going to bog you down in some dry tech manual today. Think of this as a philosophical yet highly practical survival guide for the modern digital era.
Yeah, we need a survival guide right now.
We really do. We're going to uncover the hidden rules of how these systems operate, explore the ways we are currently being quantified, and ultimately guide you through building a personal moat so you become absolutely irreplaceable.
And to build that moat, we first have to understand the water we're currently swimming in, right?
Right.
The underlying premise of the book is that we aren't just utilizing algorithms as tools, they're actively exploiting us, and they're operating constantly across 3 distinct layers.
Okay, let's unpack this, because exploitation is a heavy word. Most of us just think we're using handy apps,
Yeah.
What does that first layer of exploitation actually look like?
Well, the first layer targets your attention. Social media platforms don't just hire coders anymore.
No.
No, they employ top-tier neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists to build literal addiction loops.
Wow.
Yeah. When you're scrolling through a short video app, the algorithm knows within 3 seconds whether you're going to keep watching.
3 seconds.
Just 3 seconds.
Well, a sec.
It measures your micro-hesitations. I mean, it's not a neutral tool you're choosing to use. It's an environment engineered from the ground up to hijack your brain's dopamine system.
Just to keep your eyes glued to the screen.
Exactly.
So they are essentially hacking my brain before I've even had my coffee. But what happens when I put down social media and actually try to do something practical like shop or pick a movie?
That brings us to the second layer, which is the exploitation of your decisions.
Okay.
Platforms like Amazon or, streaming services, they aren't just offering you a catalog to browse. They're constantly running predictive models to figure out what you want before you even consciously know you want it.
That is wild.
Yeah, right. By analyzing millions of users with profiles similar to yours, they curate your options so smoothly that when you finally click buy or watch, you genuinely believe you made that choice entirely on your own.
So they literally shape your desires.
They do.
Which feels incredibly invasive when you realize the sheer scale of it. And that leads directly to the third layer, which the text calls the cruelest truth of all.
Yeah, the exploitation of your labor.
Wait, my labor? How am I working?
Every single time you click a link, every time you hover for 2 extra seconds on an image, every mundane search query you type, you're doing free labor.
Oh, wow.
You are generating the high-quality human data that trains their artificial intelligence. I mean, you're basically the unpaid intern making their platform smarter and more valuable.
And I get zero equity in return.
Absolutely zero.
Okay, wait, I need to push back on this a little bit.
Yeah.
If an algorithm gives me a show I end up genuinely loving, or, recommends a product I actually need for my house, isn't that just good customer service? Why is the author framing this as a carefully designed exploitation system?
Because that feeling of convenience is the exact trap.
Oh, so.
It feels like a bespoke service, right? But the fundamental flaw, the exploitation, lies in the fact that algorithms can only comprehend what is quantifiable.
Okay.
They track your clicks, your watch time, your purchase history. They strip away all your human nuance. And when this mathematical logic bleeds out of your phone and into the real world, it becomes really dangerous.
Especially in the workplace, right? The workplace impact mentioned in the book is terrifying.
It's massive. It's not just a screen you can turn off anymore.
No, AI is scanning your resume before a human ever even sees it.
Right.
And it's also acting as this tireless, invisible manager. Like it's evaluating employee performance by tracking completely soulless metrics.
Like what?
Like the average number of minutes it takes you to reply to an email.
Exactly. It forces you into this quantifiable existence.
Yeah.
If your entire professional value is reduced to metrics a machine can parse, you lose your cultural context. You lose your unique creativity.
You lose the actual messy human relationships you build at the office.
Precisely. But, getting angry about being reduced to a number isn't a real strategy.
Mm.
To survive this, we have to look under the hood and understand the engine that makes this entire system run.
And to understand that engine, we have to trace it back to a pretty fundamental realization. There is an incredible story in the text about Fei Li.
Our story's amazing.
Right. She was a 16-year-old immigrant working in a laundromat, and she eventually goes on to completely rewrite the history of artificial intelligence.
Her epiphany is arguably one of the most important moments in modern tech history.
Set the scene for us. This was back in 2006, right?
Yeah, 2006. The general consensus in the computer science community was that if you wanted to make machines smarter, you just needed to write more elegant, complex algorithms.
It's better code.
Right. But Fei Lian realized that AI couldn't really think because it had no visual experience of the physical world.
Interesting.
It was like trying to explain the concept of an apple to someone who had lived their entire life in a pitch-black room.
So instead of writing better code, she creates ImageNet.
Exactly. ImageNet was this massive database of 100 million labeled images.
100 million?
Yeah. Designed specifically to teach AI how to actually see a cat, a dog, a car.
And that project proved a massive underlying rule of our modern era.
It did. It proved that a genius algorithm fed with poor data is mediocre, but an average algorithm fed with massive amounts of high-quality data is revolutionary.
So data is the true fuel.
Data is the fuel. That is exactly why platforms are so desperate to exploit your digital labor.
Well, if data is the fuel, then we definitely have to talk about the physical engines that are burning that fuel.
Yes, the hardware.
The geopolitical landscape here is fascinating, specifically regarding Taiwan. The author argues they are essentially operating as the physical arsenal of the AI era.
The concentration of manufacturing power there is just staggering. I mean, Taiwan manufactures over 90% of the world's most advanced AI chips.
Like those H100s everyone talks about.
Exactly. The critical hardware powering these massive data centers. The physical architecture of this entire global digital revolution is basically being forged on one small island.
But there's a vulnerability there, isn't there?
Definitely.
They are incredibly dominant in forging the hardware, but the book points out they're comparatively weak in software design and ecosystem building.
Yeah, they're at constant risk of a brain drain. They're losing their top engineering talent to massive tech giants in the U.S.
So they're building the physical brain, but they aren't writing the thoughts.
That's a great way to put it. And that dynamic being vital but vulnerable, it's a perfect microcosm for the individual worker today.
Oh, how so?
Well, whether you're a nation manufacturing chips or an employee sitting at a desk, you have to understand the underlying logics of this new economy to avoid becoming obsolete.
Okay, so what are these underlying logics?
The text outlines 5 core survival rules we need to internalize. Things like scarcity, leverage, network effects.
Right.
But the most urgent one is compound interest, specifically regarding learning.
Let's make that concrete for the listener. How does compound interest apply to learning AI?
Think of it like a time-saving snowball.
Okay.
Say you spend a few hours today learning how to use an AI tool to automate the most tedious part of your weekly report.
Right. The stuff nobody wants to do.
Exactly. You might save 2 hours every Friday, but you don't use those 2 hours to clock out early.
What do you do with them?
You use them to learn a slightly more advanced AI integration. And by next month, you're saving 10 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
While your colleagues are still doing the manual work, your capability is growing exponentially.
That makes total sense. And another critical role mentioned is the first principles approach.
Yeah, because in a landscape where new AI tools literally drop every week, getting obsessed with learning the specific buttons of a software is a losing game.
It'll be obsolete in a month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
First principles thinking means always asking, what fundamental human problem am I trying to solve?
Give me an example.
Sure. If you're a marketer, the fundamental problem isn't how do I use this specific AI image generator?
Right.
The fundamental problem is how do I capture human desire? The specific tool will change next Tuesday, but human desire won't.
So relying on a specific AI tool is like learning to drive a highly specific model of a car that will literally vanish from the roads next year.
Great analogy.
But learning these underlying logics is like understanding how the internal combustion engine actually works. If you know that, you can drive anything they hand you.
That is the exact mindset shift required. And understanding those mechanics is critical right now because the very fabric of the internet is shifting from AI 1.0 to AI 2.0.
Right, what the book calls the immersive economy.
Yes.
The immersive economy. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi novel, honestly. But it's described here as a perfect storm of three major technologies colliding.
Blockchain, the spatial internet, and AI.
Let's break those down because they get thrown around as buzzwords a lot.
Yeah.
When I hear blockchain, I immediately just think of like crypto speculation.
Yeah, put the crypto speculation out of your mind.
Okay.
In this context, think of blockchain and smart contracts as an unbreakable digital vending machine.
Unbreakable.
Yeah, it provides a permanent, verifiable system of authentic ownership in a digital space. If you buy a digital asset or create a piece of digital IP, the blockchain proves it's yours without needing a bank or a lawyer.
Okay, so blockchain handles the ownership. Then you add the spatial internet, like augmented and virtual reality, right?
Which dissolves the boundary between looking at a screen and actually being inside a digital environment.
Got it. So where does AI fit into this new economy?
AI is the final crucial piece. It acts as the ultimate tireless creator.
Like building the worlds.
Exactly. In the past, building a dynamic, responsive 3D virtual world took teams of developers years, and it cost millions of dollars. AI drops the cost of generating these immersive environments to near zero.
That's incredible.
And it populates them with dynamic elements that respond to you in real time.
So the business models are going to completely flip. AI 1.0 was basically just corporate cost cutting, right?
Pretty much.
Like using machines to replace human customer service reps just to save a few dollars. But AI 2.0 is about generating entirely new revenue streams.
The shift is massive. Take supply chains, for example. Zara is using advanced AI not just to track inventory, but to analyze massive global data flows to predict fashion trends before they even happen.
Wow.
They use AI to design the clothes, optimize the factory floor, and route the shipping. They're cutting their entire supply chain down to just 2 weeks.
2 weeks? That's insane.
Or look at healthcare. AI 2.0 isn't just digitizing hospital records. It's analyzing genomes and daily lifestyle habits to predict and prevent diseases 5 years before a patient ever feels a symptom.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the way companies make money off us is changing entirely.
Radically.
We are moving away from the old model of selling one-off products and moving towards selling experience subscriptions.
Exactly.
And even wilder, the death of traditional advertising. The book says we are moving toward intent revenue.
Intent revenue, yes.
Meaning platforms won't need to show you a banner ad for shoes. Their AI will anticipate that your current shoes are wearing out based on your spatial data and simply offer you a replacement before you even open a search bar.
It's all about anticipation. When you combine these three technologies, a fascinating structure emerges.
Let's hear it.
If blockchain serves as the digital skeleton providing ownership, and the spatial internet is the digital body.
Then AI is essentially becoming the soul of this new internet.
Yes.
It's the animating force that breathes life into the whole system.
It really is the animating force. It creates, it reacts, and it evolves in real time alongside the user.
Which honestly makes me pause and just take a deep breath.
It is a lot to take in.
I mean, if AI can now generate entire immersive worlds, instantly predict complex global supply chains, anticipate my personal needs before I do, and act as the animating soul of the internet, what on earth is left for actual human beings? It's the big question. What is our role?
This raises, arguably, the defining existential question of our time. And to answer it, we have to take a quick philosophical detour back to René Descartes.
Okay, this 17th century philosopher.
Right. Who famously declared, I think, therefore I am.
It's basically the foundation of Western thought. But if an AI can currently think faster than us, I mean, if it can write a stunningly beautiful poem in 2 seconds, or pass the bar exam in the top 10% of human test takers, does the AI exist?
Right. Does it have consciousness?
Exactly.
Well, to dismantle that fear, we have to look at a famous thought experiment from 1980 by the philosopher John Searle.
The Chinese room experiment.
Yes, the Chinese room. Imagine a person locked in a room who doesn't understand a single word of Chinese.
Okay, no Chinese at all.
However, they have an incredibly vast, detailed rule book. People outside the room slide questions written in Chinese characters under the door. The person inside looks at the shapes of the characters, consults their massive rulebook to find the matching output, and then copies down the corresponding Chinese characters to slide back outside.
So to the people standing outside the room, it looks like the person inside is completely fluent.
Exactly.
They're having this deeply intellectual conversation in perfect Chinese.
But the person inside understands absolutely nothing of what they are writing. They're entirely blind to the meaning. They're merely matching complex patterns.
Wow.
And that is exactly what AI is doing. AI perfectly uses language, but it doesn't understand meaning. It has perfect syntax, with zero semantics.
Let's relate that to the listener right now. Think about, the chatbot you use to help write difficult emails at work.
Good example.
You can prompt it to write a delicate, professional apology to an angry client. The AI will output a flawless, highly empathetic-sounding email.
Beautifully written.
But that machine doesn't feel a drop of the anxiety that is currently twisting in your stomach as you hover over the send button.
It's not a drop. It can generate a flawless sonnet about a broken heart by mathematically mapping high-dimensional patterns across billions of scanned texts, but it has never once cried at 3 in the morning.
That is such a stark difference.
And this distinction reveals the 3 unassailable human moats that AI can never cross.
Okay, let's go through them. The first is emotion.
Right. AI can express emotion perfectly, but humans actually experience it.
And the second moat is creativity.
Yeah.
We constantly think of AI generating art as creative, but the book argues it's really just remixing existing high-dimensional data.
Exactly. True human creativity. Think of Van Gogh painting. The Starry Night comes from profound personal suffering, madness, and the physical courage to break established rules.
Because an algorithm cannot suffer.
No, and it has no conscious desire to rebel against its own programming.
Makes sense. And the third, and perhaps most critical moat, is morality.
Yes, morality.
AI completely lacks the capacity to feel shame, regret, or to take moral responsibility.
You cannot put an AI into the classic trolley problem.
Right, where a choice has to be made about who to save on the train tracks.
An AI will just perform a cold calculation. It cannot weigh the metaphysical, spiritual weight of a human life.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because while we have these inherent human advantages, aren't we kind of actively throwing them away?
How do you mean?
I look around and we're increasingly offloading our actual thinking to AI. We outsource our factual memory to search engines, our physical navigation to GPS, and now millions of people are offloading their emotional support to companion chatbots.
Yeah, it's a real phenomenon.
Aren't we making ourselves fundamentally weaker?
There's a term for this in the book, cognitive offloading.
Okay.
And you have to treat it as a double-edged sword. Offloading rote calculation or trivial memory tasks is highly beneficial, right? It frees up your cognitive load for higher-order strategic thinking.
But what's the danger?
The existential danger is when you begin to offload meaning. If you outsource your moral judgment or your emotional processing, you hollow out your own humanity. Because machines can now calculate, Descartes' old maxim is no longer sufficient. The author says we have to update it for 2026.
What's the update?
I feel, I choose, I bear consequences, therefore I am.
I feel, I choose, I bear consequences, therefore I am. That is incredibly powerful.
It reclaims our humanity.
It does. So, our ultimate advantage in the marketplace isn't our ability to process information faster, it's our raw humanity. But let's bring this down to earth for a second.
Sure.
How do we practically apply this human edge to our daily careers right now? How do we build a defense against becoming that quantifiable, obsolete existence we talked about earlier?
We counterattack by building a deliberate personal moat.
Okay, what's the first step?
The very first step is learning to read the signals of the future. You have to watch where the resources are slowing.
Follow the money.
Exactly. Just like someone who saw the massive infrastructure build out of the internet in 1995, new retail is about to change. We need to look at where the massive compute power is going today.
The numbers in the text for this are wild. Tech giants are spending $50 to $80 billion a year purely on compute power.
It's staggering.
If you follow that money and you see where the top engineering talent is migrating, it tells you exactly which industries are about to be revolutionized next.
And once you read those macro signals, you implement a daily micro practice.
Right, the 7-step plan.
We don't need to cover every single step of the author's plan, but the core engine of it is the knowledge flywheel.
The knowledge flywheel, what is that?
It requires dedicating just 30 minutes a day to actively learning or experimenting with AI.
Let's give the listener a concrete example of this because honestly, 30 minutes sounds almost too easy.
It's about consistency, not intensity.
So what should they actually be doing in that half hour?
Well, don't just spend 30 minutes asking a chatbot to write a funny poem or summarize an article.
Right.
Take the single most frustrating, bottlenecked task in your specific job.
Maybe it's writing complex Excel macros or, I don't know, formatting client proposals.
Perfect. Spend 30 minutes exclusively trying to get the AI to do it for you.
Just trial and error.
You will fail at first. But doing that for 30 minutes every day adds up to roughly 180 hours a year.
That's a massive amount of time.
It is. That creates a compound advantage, a level of specific leverage that your peers simply will not be able to catch up to.
And as you build that technical leverage, the book says you simultaneously lean into the human network.
The human element is irreplaceable.
In a future where infinite, flawless, AI-generated content is incredibly cheap and everywhere, genuine human trust becomes the rarest, most valuable currency in business.
Trust cannot be automated. I mean, an algorithm can write the contract, but humans still have to shake hands and actually trust each other to execute it.
So it's sort of like we need to stop trying to out-pedal the motorcycle on our bicycles.
That's a great way to look at it.
We are going to lose that race every single time. Instead, we need to learn how to steer the motorcycle while focusing all our human energy on deciding the most meaningful destination to ride to.
What's fascinating here is that history constantly repeats this cycle of disruption. Technology always destroys specific jobs.
Right.
The advent of the personal computer completely destroyed the job of the typist, but it created an absolute explosion of programmers and software engineers.
So it's about positioning.
The choice of which side of that equation you're going to land on, the obsolete or the empowered, is a choice you are making right now through your daily habits.
Wow. Okay, let's take a step back and look at the journey we've just been on today.
It's been quite a ride.
We started by waking up to the reality of how algorithms are actively exploiting our attention, our decisions, and our labor every single morning.
Right, the 3 layers.
We explored the underlying rules of data, the geopolitical realities of chip manufacturing in Taiwan, and the massive incoming wave of the immersive AI 2.0 economy.
The spatial internet, blockchain, all of it.
And then we discovered that our true philosophical edge isn't calculation, but our emotion, our morality, and our ability to bear consequences.
Updating Descartes.
Exactly. And finally, we looked at how a targeted 30-minute daily practice can build an unassailable personal moat.
It really serves as a comprehensive framework. It moves the conversation from a place of passive anxiety about the future into a position of active empowerment and understanding.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over on your own.
Okay.
We talked earlier about cognitive offloading and the very real danger of outsourcing our judgment to machines.
Yes.
But think about this. If human creativity, deep empathy, and our moral compass are historically born out of overcoming struggle, breaking through barriers, and experiencing genuine friction,
Which they are.
what happens to us if we use AI to completely eliminate all friction from our daily lives?
That's a profound question.
If we successfully outsource all our discomfort and challenges to a machine, do we accidentally outsource the very friction that causes human growth?
I mean, a frictionless life sounds appealing, but if struggle is the crucible that makes us human, eliminating it entirely might be the ultimate trap we build for ourselves.
Something to think about the next time you hear that 6:30 a.m. alarm and reach to check your notifications. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. Remember, AI might rewrite the operational rules of the world, but it can never change the fundamental meaning of human existence. Keep asking the big questions.